Hello, good morning. This is Sugalya Murugesan from ZSL. Welcome for the webinar, Make Your Business Apps and Processes Smarter and Agile with ZSL and IBM Smart Cloud Enterprise. The speaker for today's session is Naidu Gantam, Senior Solution Architect, Enterprise Infrastructure, Idea Lab, the R&D division of ZSL. Naidu will talk about how enterprises can leverage IBM Smart Cloud Enterprise combined with ZSL's cloud expertise and specialization to build an agile enterprise infrastructure that would align their IT operations with business priorities. He will give a comprehensive overview of IBM Smart Cloud Enterprise features, technology stacks, ZSL value addition services for IBM Smart Cloud Enterprise, and some real-time use cases. During the presentation, all participants will be muted. You can submit your questions on the right-hand side of your screen using the chat window. We will be able to answer some of the questions during the Q&A session that follows the presentation and answer any remaining questions offline. Today's presentation will be recorded and posted to ZSL's TV and webinar page. With that, I would like to turn the presentation over to Naidu. Welcome, Naidu.
Thank you, Sugalya. Welcome everybody who is on the line. So like Sugalya said in the introduction, I would like to present ZSL's cloud capabilities in general, some few slides about the cloud, and in particular I'll talk about IBM Smart Cloud Enterprise, their cloud service, public cloud service, and also ZSL capabilities in relation to cloud and Smart Enterprise, and some case studies. So wanted to start with a quick intro about ZSL. ZSL's been around in the global technology integration and business solution business since the mid-90s. We are a truly global company with R&D centers in the US, Canada, and India. We have a workforce about 4,500 spread evenly between North America, India, and the rest of the world. We have a dedicated R&D division called Idea Lab, and my unit, in fact, is part of our Idea Lab. And Idea Lab provides value-added R&D services and product development services to ISPs and other solution providers. ZSL has been a pioneer in developing industry-specific solutions in insurance, finance, in e-governance, consumer electronics, and healthcare and telecom industries. We've pioneered several and award-winning and proven partnership programs like Get IT Together, which allows us to partner with other ISVs, VARs, and solution providers so that we are able to bring the best of breed solutions to our customers. Often we are partnering with companies who might be our competitors, but you know, to provide a best solution out there, sometimes we have to cooperatively work with them. Also, we are ISO and CMM certified, ensures quality in our products and services. As you can see in this chart, ZSL has shown a steady growth curve, and we have managed to go right through the economic troubles of the last few years without any problems. And our R&D investment also has kept pace with our revenue and growth. And as you can see in this chart, in fact, we are running out of space here. Is all the awards and recognitions that we have gotten in just this past few years, and we've even the awards and recognitions have kept pace with our growth and our investments. Talking specifically about Idea Lab, which is a R&D division focused on both internal R&D and also work that we do for other partners and customers. Specifically, if they're looking at a cutting-edge technology for which there is no off-the-shelf solution, they often turn to Idea Lab looking for a solution where we take something that is really in the research field and bring it in, and develop a product out of it or develop a service out of it and deliver to our partners or to our internal customers. Idea Lab has 6 different focus areas: business solutions, which are ERP and CRM type of applications mainly. Enterprise intelligence, which is data warehousing, business intelligence, and things like big data and elastic MapReduce are all part of that. Convergence computing has been a really fast-growing section of Idea Lab. It deals almost entirely with mobile applications or other modern applications where things like smartphones, tablets, and modern web-based applications are all converging into a very always-on kind of a computing capability. Enterprise computing deals mainly with Web 2.0 cloud applications, pushing things, modernizing applications into the cloud and new delivery platforms. Open source computing is self-explanatory. The last one is managed and virtualization services and infrastructure services, which is the division I lead. And we concentrate on building next generation infrastructure for enterprises, both physical and cloud-based infrastructure. And we've worked with several private cloud providers and also public cloud providers, as you'll see in the following slides. Just I want to move on to a quick introduction about the cloud. The term cloud nowadays is used rightly or wrongly for every service and product that is not available from within your enterprise's IT department. So, but there is a formal definition of the cloud as defined by the NIST. This is a federal government organization, which a standards organization for technology. So according to them, cloud computing needs convenient, on-demand network access to a shared pool of computing resources. That includes network, server, storage, and applications that can be rapidly provisioned and released with minimal management effort and service provider interaction. So that's a very formal definition of cloud. I tend to simplify cloud, anything that can be called a cloud service or a cloud product. My definition is that it needs to be on demand, that it needs to be scalable, it needs to be self-service, and it is a metered usage, meaning you pay for what you use. So that is my personal definition of what a cloud service is. So there are different types of cloud services, as we've been talking about. There are 3 main types: software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. I'll go through each of them, provide some examples. Software as a service has been around for a little bit. In the early days of the service, it used to be called Application Service Providers, ASP. These are basically applications and services that are consumed from the internet on a subscription basis. So usually they're targeted towards the end users. Some significant examples are Salesforce.com, their CRM application, then Constant Contact, which is a email marketing application. Hotmail, we all know and understand online email, which Hotmail pioneered, and Google and Yahoo Mail also are leaders there. Hosted exchange. This is a newer service, hosted email services where a company's email service is in a data center run by some other company. You buy based on the number of users you have. You pay a monthly subscription for each user. And a WebEx and GoToMeeting like we are using today, these are also software as a service. You pay for a monthly fee for a subscription or per event. And of course, things like Google Docs, which where you have an account if you are a commercial user to use an Office application type of stack. The next level down from there is known as platform as a service. It's basically getting middleware and database and other application frameworks as a service. So this is typically targeted to independent software vendors or developers and generally engineering users. Examples are Google App Engine, Microsoft's Azure Cloud is actually called Windows Azure. Force.com, which is actually a API-driven platform for Salesforce.com, so you can write your own CRM application, but it uses the Salesforce.com engine. Amazon's relational database service, which is part of their AWS, Amazon Web Services. So the whole idea behind a platform as a service is that you don't worry about running a database server or a Java web service or anything like that. You bring your development code, you bring your data, you write your application, and you don't really worry about where it's running. The service provider provides the underneath services, and they guarantee uptime, they guarantee scalability, and so on. The last type of cloud service that is out there and popular is infrastructure as a service. So at the infrastructure as a service, you get a virtual machine, a server. You get a choice of your operating system. They provide network and storage, and they combine all these services as a scalable platform. So again, it's targeted to ISVs, developers, IT organizations, and lines of business within large corporations. The examples are Amazon's Elastic Compute EC2, also known as AWS, Amazon Web Services, OpSource, Rackspace, GoGrid, Savvis, all of these provide infrastructure as a service. And also today's main provider, IBM, is another good example of infrastructure as a service. IBM also plays in the platform as a service model. When I come to the IBM slides, I'll highlight the different services there. So as you can see, with infrastructure as a service, you do get your hands dirty with running an operating system just like you would within your own data center. You make sure that the operating system is patched and it's protected by an antivirus and a firewall and all that. So the normal rules of operations apply, only that you really are not responsible for the underlying hardware or for the underlying infrastructure. You really take care of your IT stack from the operating system up. So the underlying, you're not dealing with hardware. Hardware is provided by the service provider. So these are some examples of types of cloud services, and then there are types of cloud deployments. How exactly are you using the cloud? Most of the definition by cloud, most people and most definitions, most usage are about what is known as the public cloud, meaning that it's running in an external premises. It's multi-tenant, meaning several people are using the same hardware, and it's a public service. Anybody with the appropriate economic means can sign up and use the service. And basically, it's come one, come all kind of service. Everybody can make avail of it. The next service is private cloud. So this is essentially a cloud that is not accessible to the public. It is meant for a single organization usually, and it could be either on the internal premises of the user or on an external premises. But the main definition of private meaning nobody else, no other user has access to that hard infrastructure there. That's where the single tenant comes in, and the access is tightly controlled to that single tenant. A hybrid cloud is a method of a cloud deployment of an application where part of the application is in the public cloud, part of it is in private cloud, and maybe another part of it is in a traditional IT data center. So there are several integration models of connecting all these through, usually through VPN tunnels and other private networking means to provide the glue in between. The other model is that if you have a steady state computing load, you have it running in your private cloud or your data center, but when the cyclical loads come in, you burst out into the public cloud to handle the extra cycles and extra load, and then you scale back down to the private infrastructure when that extra load is not there. The fourth type of cloud deployment is what is known as a community cloud, usually quite popular with the government and nonprofit agencies. Also, we're seeing it more and more in academic institutions like universities and colleges. So it's essentially a private cloud, but it is shared. Instead of being a single tenant, it's more than a few tenants, but it's not fully public. So you cannot just walk up and avail of the services that a community cloud provider provides. You have to be part of the community. Perhaps you have shared the expenses of setting it up, or even if you have not shared the expenses, you are, you're likely that the other tenants are organizations similar to yours. So we've seen some definitions of the types of clouds and how clouds are typically deployed. So the more fundamental question is, why use the cloud at all? Why use these services that are running somewhere else that are quite different from the traditional computing model? So one reason is standardization. Some of these are reasons, some of these are cause, some of these are effect of using the cloud too. So we've mixed them all up. So standardization. So this forces organizations to consume their IT in standard chunks. So you have a well-defined virtual machine. So you know the compute that is available there. You know the amount of RAM that is available, the amount of network and disk resources. And it forces you to think of your compute loads in those standardized forms. The other standardization, of course, is APIs. We'll talk about that more later in the same slide. The other thing is the economies of scale and using an existing ecosystem. Cloud providers, especially public cloud providers, tend to have very large infrastructure and very large investments into their data centers, that they're able to build data centers literally hundreds of thousands of square feet, which most IT organizations are not able to afford, and most IT departments do not require that large data centers. So a cloud provider is able to provide a large center, get the efficiencies from volume, and make that available to their users at a very competitive price. The other feature of the cloud is measured service. What I said as metered service before. So you basically, every bit of your usage is measured, every byte going in and out is measured, every block of storage you use is measured, every compute unit is measured, every byte of RAM you use is measured, and then you are charged accordingly. So you pay for what you use. You pay usually on a monthly basis, and you only pay for what you use. So when you don't need the computing resources, you quote-unquote release them. They go back into the pool. So it fundamentally changes the way the economies of a IT organization works. It goes from a CapEx-intensive budgeting process to an OpEx-driven process. So it aligns very well with business operations. So if your retail operation is busy during Christmas, you can scale up your IT operation expense during those months and then scale it down when things are not that busy. Rapid elasticity, both horizontal and vertical. By elasticity, we mean by being able to scale out, which is what horizontal means, and to scale up, which vertically. Scaling out meaning instead of 2 web servers during busy periods, you can have 10. Scaling up vertically means instead of having a 2 GB, 2 CPU web server, you go to a 8 GB, 8 core virtual machine to handle the load. So that is scaling out versus scaling up. Security. So there's a lot of talk about concerns about security around the public cloud. As I said before, these economies of scale of large data centers also applies to security. Very few IT organizations are able to match the physical security that a public cloud provider, at least the big ones that are able to provide. They are compliant with a whole range of security compliances like HIPAA and the data center compliances and audit requirements. So I would venture to say that some of the cloud providers, the public cloud providers, are more secure than most IT data centers and applications out there. Nearly unlimited capacity, meaning you are able to call up, literally tens of thousands of machines if you so wish, and to use it for your computing purposes. On-demand resource pooling. This is like, you can bring together a lot of compute, memory, storage, disk, and apply them for your computing problem and solve large problems like big data and things like elastic MapReduce and those other kind of computing techniques. Developer friendly and very flexible. So the focus now, since you're not that worried or that focused on worrying about the hardware and the infrastructure underneath, your staff, your IT staff can concentrate on the application and business logic, and the underlying hardware and other scalability issues are addressed by the cloud provider. And most public clouds have very robust APIs. I would guess to say that if you are a cloud provider and if you are not API driven, that you are going to disappear very fast. So this is like one of the, even though it doesn't appear to be at first glance, it's one of the basic requirements that I think my public cloud provider should be able to provide. On-demand and self-service is sort of self-explanatory. You show up and you're able to scale up and spin up resources with little upfront cost. Low cost and operational flexibility. So the way the cloud is structured and the way you pay for it, it is especially for disaster recovery and business continuity. It's a very easy to recommend use case where you are it almost makes no sense to try it out for business continuity and disaster recovery. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what the research firms are talking about, market research firms are talking about the type of cloud growth that we are already seeing and what is expected in the near future. So the study by IDC shows 27% of compounded annual growth rate for cloud IT spending in the cloud versus traditional IT spending. Similarly, Forrester research shows by 2020, the cloud market would be worth about $250 billion, excuse me. And IDC for 2015 is predicting about $73 billion, which is any way you look at it, it's like mind-boggling kind of numbers and growth rates. So this is basically a way to say that you're going to ignore the cloud at your fellow. So every IT department, every CIO, CFO, and CEO should be paying attention to these numbers and what's going on in the cloud, and also to be able to exploit the cloud's features in the future in the next year or so, or going forward. Everybody in the IT department should be taking a serious look out at how to use the cloud, how to position your applications and your business processes to be able to use the cloud. I think this momentum is going to build on itself. So just to give a quick roundup of some of the partnerships, ZSL is already working in the cloud, some providers. Amazon Web Services and IBM's Smart Cloud are some of the bigger cloud examples, cloud partners, vendors that we've been working on. We've also worked for a long time with Ubuntu for their private cloud based on Linux. RightScale, which is a enabling application framework for different types of cloud, both public and private. And we've done a lot of work with Oracle's products in the cloud. And Oracle also recently has announced a public cloud for their products and services. Red Hat, and along with Ubuntu, has been contributing to a lot of private cloud deployments based on KVM. Microsoft's Windows Azure Cloud is a platform as a service cloud, and they're making some good inroads with their service. And ZSL has been playing a very active role in cloud advisory bodies with CompTIA and also with the EuroCloud Advisory, which is a prominent cloud standards body based in Europe. And we've also worked with the cloud providers like OpSource, Google's App Engine, Salesforce.com, and of course Virtual Bridges for their VDI solutions. So I just wanted a quick introduction about ZSL's Smart Price framework, how ZSL approaches the cloud applications and the services that we provide with a methodology and a process which is driven by quality and with properly documented processes so that our services are of the top line. So broadly speaking, ZSL Smart Price framework can be split up into 4 main areas: applications, integration, management of the cloud, and the underlying cloud infrastructure itself. So starting with applications, ZSL is able to offer cloud application migration and modernization services, where we take your legacy applications running in traditional environments and deploy them into clouds. So we are able to recommend the right type of cloud, whether it should be IaaS or a platform as a service. We are even able to work with a couple of ISVs to take the traditional software and make them available as a SaaS on a subscription model, in a monthly subscription model. So the applications have to be re-architected and re-engineered to work well and securely in a multi-tenant kind of environment. Inter-cloud migration. So if you want to avoid vendor lock-in and be able to move from cloud to cloud, you have to think about your architecture and design of your application right from the beginning so that you don't get locked in. Cloud strategy consulting is where ZSL is able to come in, take a look at your application and your entire IT stack, and make recommendations about what your cloud strategy should be for the next 12 months or 24 months and so on. And also which applications are ideal for deploying in the cloud, and what are some of the skills and service capabilities that your organization has to acquire to become successful using the cloud IT model. The next main area is integration, which is a service and a framework to allow different parts of your application, some running in the cloud, some running in traditional environments, to be integrated. We have a large business practice with IBM's Cast Iron, which is a very modern integration platform, and which we are able to use both in the traditional business applications and also to combine them with applications that are running in cloud or remotely anywhere, and to integrate them in a seamless manner. Cloud to SaaS integration, being able to take your SaaS applications and to, in the background, make the integrations into traditional IT applications, so that even though it looks like a SaaS application to the end user, all the security and all the scalability of your original application is still preserved, and that you're able to derive the best of both worlds, so to speak. The next main area is in the area of managing your applications and your infrastructure in the cloud. So we are able to provide traditional remote management and monitoring services and extend them into the cloud. And we have a very key piece of software called Smart Cloud Manager, which automates and which provides a very GUI-based approach to provisioning, orchestration, configuring, and management and metering and billing in the cloud. It works with multiple types of clouds, and it's able to provide a business-friendly front-end interface to what can often be a very developer-oriented interfaces that most cloud providers provide. The last part of this framework is the infrastructure side of the cloud, being able to deploy private and public clouds, and also to be able to provide the integration and services required to use hybrid clouds. So we've done some cloud infrastructure deployments, server and desktop virtualization projects, and extending them into true private clouds. Desktop as a service is part of this. Data center as a service is part of this infrastructure framework. In backup, disaster recovery, and continuity services, which really use the cloud a lot in the background, that are some of the key areas that the infrastructure practice provides. So I had earlier talked about ZSL's methodology. So here we are talking specifically about our cloud assessment methodology, where we are able to provide assessment services and strategy consulting to look at a company's and organization's current IT positioning and to say how you should be able to use the cloud in the coming years, and how to position yourself, how your current application stack is compatible or not with the new architectures in the cloud, which applications are eminently suitable for migration into the cloud. And we are able to provide you some help with evaluating the tools and the different clouds that are there, and help you select the right set of tools and services so that you are able to successfully transition into the cloud. And as part of our cloud framework, the Smart Price Cloud Framework, we also have a application migration methodology, which is an 8-step process which includes the discovery and assessment phase, which aligns a lot with the previous slide we saw. And then the next steps are where we are able to provide like a proof of concept, be able to design or refactor your application, and make sure that it behaves properly when we deploy it into the cloud. Step 4 is the actual deployment of the application and your virtual machines into the cloud. And then the next steps are migrating the data and testing how the rollout went, and to redo that in several phases so that your application is able to smoothly and seamlessly transition out into the cloud. The seventh and eighth phases are really once your application is in the cloud, to see how you can leverage the advantages of the cloud, the scalability, the on-demand, scale-out features of the cloud, how to exploit them for your application. Perhaps there are some optimizations. There are maybe some cloud instances that perhaps don't need to use all the memory that they've been assigned. Perhaps they have some storage that you're not using. So in the optimization level, what we are really looking is to how to reduce your footprint overall in the cloud, how to save further your operational things, how to scale up and scale down as your business operations scale up and scale down, so that your IT spend is closely aligned with your business operations. And for the infrastructure framework, we have a methodology that includes the evaluation of priorities and costs, scoping up the project in impact to the existing systems. Often in the cloud, compatibility is the main issue. The cloud provider might be running only the latest versions of Windows Server, for example, and your application might only be certified for, say, Windows 2003. So, in that case, how do you manage the risk there? How do you recertify your application? And the other services we provide here is design of networks and systems and servers in the cloud. So if you have like a certain architecture for your infrastructure within your premise, it's often you're not able to just take it out and plug it into the cloud, because there are several things that perform differently in the cloud. Some services work very fast, some are not so fast in the cloud. So you have to readjust and refactor those, and often you have to do some re-architecting to make sure that your applications and your operating systems behave similarly. The next phases are, of course, the deployment, actual deployment into the cloud, testing it, making sure everything is working as it should, and then documenting everything that we've done, so that once the once your infrastructure is in the cloud, that you have some repeatable processes and services that you can continue to use the cloud as your main infrastructure for your IT. So why would you come to ZSL to provide your cloud services? Like I've said, proven methodologies like you've seen in the previous slide. We have been early adopters with the cloud. We started dabbling in the cloud almost as soon as Amazon's EC2 service came out. So we've cut our fingers on the bleeding edge of cloud, and we've already been doing this with our internal applications since about 4 to 5 years. So we've seen the cloud market improve and progress, and today's cloud is very different from the cloud that started out 5 years ago, and we are seeing changes constantly. Even the cloud that was there at the end of 2011 is quite different from the cloud that is today, even today. So even in 6 months, there's been like tremendous changes. We have extensive experience with several cloud providers, and we have several dedicated teams that work in nothing other than cloud technologies at the IaaS and PaaS, the platform as a service layers, and they are completely dedicated to, as a practice to the cloud services. We've had experience with multiple projects, both internal and for our customers. So we've seen just about every type of cloud deployment. The other arrow in our quiver is Smart Price Cloud Manager. It is a cross-cloud management solution, like I described before. It's completely is able to do the full lifecycle management of your cloud instances, right from starting it up to scaling up and down, taking backups, being able to monitor and manage your cloud to optimize it. So it's a very important tool in our tool chest. And we've been very active in both in the standards bodies like the NIST Cloud Reference Architecture task forces, and also we are members of the CompTIA and Eurocloud advisory boards. And of course, we've been recipient of numerous awards and recognitions related to cloud computing. Even last week, we were recognized as one of the top 100 vendors in cloud computing. So what are some of these services that we directly offer as professional services? So strategy workshops, being able to study and review existing business direction in IT. So we are able to recommend to the C-level executives about what direction your IT spend and your IT infrastructure should be taking. We are also able to do readiness assessments and consulting, where we come in, do an inventory and survey of your current IT processes and applications and policies, and to check how ready your IT department, your certain particular applications and departments and groups are ready to exploit the capabilities of the cloud. Migration and integration services, where we are able to provide application developers who are familiar with the cloud, and we are able to re-architect and redo your applications to make for easy migration and modernization and bring them into the cloud. Support services is, once you're in the cloud, we are able to provide remote management and administration capabilities of both IaaS and PaaS type of loads that you have, and we will provide complete end-to-end management of your application, of your operating systems, of your patches, and just about everything that you would expect in the cloud environment. And all you have to really worry about is your application and in some cases, we are even able to support that and manage that. So some additional services built around the cloud. A Smart Business Continuity Service, where we are able to provide backup, disaster recovery, and continuity services. They come in silver, gold, and platinum levels. So there is a correct level available for just about any size business, any type of business. We also provide data center as a service, where we are able to provide a private cloud or even a public cloud, and on a subscription basis. So you have a monthly fee you pay for the use of this cloud, and even for internal use, or if you want to resell it, also we are able to provide these kind of services. The SmartPrice Dev Test Cloud, this is another very popular use case for cloud, where all your development and testing is done in the cloud. So that takes away being able to provide varied development environments for your application or for any particular development that you're doing. And move all that into the cloud so that you're able to use the infrastructure as a service for your product development. Before I move on to IBM Smart Cloud, let me take a quick break. So just wanted to highlight some of IBM's cloud initiatives. IBM's been in the cloud business for at least the last 2-3 years, and their offering is called Smart Cloud. And as you will see in the rest of the overview, it's several levels of services that they offer under the Smart Cloud branding, and they're able to provide infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and also you'll see that IBM is able to bring their unique capabilities and unique scale on a global level to the cloud, and be able to provide a truly business-oriented, enterprise-oriented cloud service that deserves and the IBM's branding on it. So there are 4 main offerings within IBM's Smart Cloud service. One is Smart Cloud Foundations, which is all the different software stack and the hardware that is required to deploy a private cloud. So IBM is uniquely able to provide all the hardware, meaning the network gear, the server hardware, the storage, and they're able to integrate with a full software stack, right from the operating system all the way to a higher level management like virtualization layers. They're able to provide Tivoli management systems for storage, for applications, for metering and billing, and provide a complete A to Z stack for private cloud deployments. The one that we are going to talk about most is IBM Smart Cloud Enterprise. This is IBM's public infrastructure as a service offering, where you are able to sign up for compute, storage, and networking assets as required on demand. And there is also what is called a Smart Cloud Enterprise Plus service. The Plus service adds a full service to the public cloud. They're able to offer 24/7 monitoring. They're able to offer full hands-on support for your application and for your instances that are running in that service. The Smart Cloud Application Solutions is a platform as a service offering where particular IBM platforms like their DB2, their Informix, their higher end middleware frameworks like WebSphere, Cognos, and all those kind of applications are available as a platform on a subscription model. So, and they offer almost unlimited scale up, and you basically have to bring your code and your application and business logic and build your application. And physically, IBM Smart Cloud is deployed in North America, Europe, and Asia Pacific. And IBM's main focus is here targeting IT and CIO organizations, whereas other public providers have mostly gone after the startup business. IBM is concentrating towards large enterprises and also small and medium enterprises, which are already using traditional IT, and this is a way for IBM, for those companies to continue to use IBM as a provider and to transition at the cloud, so to basically have the best of both worlds. So specifically talking about IBM Smart Cloud Enterprise offering. So it's a public infrastructure as a service offering which delivers secure and scalable IT infrastructure. It's available on demand across the globe. It is also able to provide server and storage resources, and is well suited for test and dev, as well as dynamic workloads which are able to scale up and scale down, or which need to scale up and scale down as demand ebbs and flows. And the Smart Cloud Enterprise goes beyond by being able to provide flexible services, and IBM's world-class security, both physical security and network security, and their own unique facilities that they have around the world. So some of the other operating systems that are available in SCE right out of the box are Red Hat Enterprise Linux, SUSE Linux, and Windows Server. Another unique feature with IBM Smart Cloud is that you are able to bring in any operating system that is x86 compatible. So you are able to install just about any version of Linux, just about any version of Windows, and be able to, if you want, you can even bring up a desktop version of Linux like Ubuntu or something, and run it in IBM's cloud. That's one of the unique features of SCE, which almost no other cloud providers provide at this time. They have their own canned images, most other cloud providers, but IBM is more flexible. They have their machine images, and they also provide some additional, user is able to bring their own. Like I said, they have their data centers around the globe. The 6 main centers that they have are listed here. As you can see, 3 centers in North America, 1 in Europe, and 2 in Asia. So why would ZSL and or a customer would come to ZSL for using IBM's SCE? Some of the compelling reasons is that we have a really close working relationship with IBM. We are able to directly access their solution architects and other technical resources. ZSL has been a business partner with IBM for several years now, and we have a close working relationship with, especially with the cloud global technology services, which provide the cloud services. And we already have deep expertise with SCE. We already have pre-configured instances that we are able to bring up and have them running immediately. We have a good understanding, excellent understanding, in fact, of their SCE's networking capabilities, how to best use it, and we have already built-in images using their applications and libraries and the stacks that IBM provides. And we have worked with IBM storage, like their object store and the persistent storage, that we are able to immediately look at your application and your virtual machine stack and make recommendations about which storage that you need to use. And we've also worked extensively with IBM using their guest virtual machines for firewalling and intrusion prevention and intrusion detection systems, IP filtering. IBM also provides a virtual private network access to their VLANs within SCE. This is a very critical requirement and a truly a must-have feature if you are planning to run traditional IT applications in any cloud, but especially SCE, where applications like ERP and CRM applications, they really require these VPNs and VLANs. And of course, we've worked with encrypted connections to IBM through SSH and of course through VLANs and VPNs. Next, I want to go through some case studies that we've deployed in the cloud in general and in particular on IBM's SCE. So the first application is ZSL's Smart Price Business Intelligence Suite, both for the web-based application and for the mobile applications. So we have completely cloud-enabled the business intelligence suite of applications, and we have deployed them to Amazon EC2 and also to IBM's Smart Cloud. The applications that we currently support there are Dynamics GP from Microsoft, Enforce SL, and Sage ACPAC, and some of the technologies that we've used behind these ERPs are like IBM Cognos, SAP's Business Objects, Excelsior from SAP, Microsoft Reporting and Analytical Services, and TIBCO's Spotfire. And the mobile devices that we support, basically all the smartphone platforms that are out there, the iOS devices, Windows Mobile, Android devices, and also tablets of all the modern versions. The next example case study or example we have is of a web-based merchandising engine, which we, in fact, our ZSL's own store where we sell add-ons runs on this engine. We have, again, deployed it both on IBM's SCE and also Amazon's AWS. It's a merchandising engine, a online shopping and a store drop-in that can be used by just about any web application. It provides very easy integration to be able to sell and market your products and services on the web. And we've deployed several of these on the cloud for a couple of our customers, and it's a very easy to use package, and it's already cloudified and ready to go. Mobile Power Center is ZSL's mobile device management solution, MDM, that has been it went into GA in recent months, and it's a complete end-to-end solution for managing your smartphones within an enterprise. So we are able to do the complete complete solution of managing mobile devices, encryption policies, device configuration, registration, remote locking or wiping of devices that are lost, recovery of lost phones through GPS location, being able to provide location services and also to be able to do tracking of where your remote employees are or field employees, and being able to back up and restore the devices remotely. So it's an all-round application. Again, the back end of this service is deployed on IBM SCE, and we've had some couple of good deployments with customers. We recently did a application migration for a leading radio service provider. They have about 15 to 20 applications that were running in a traditional colo kind of facility. First, we helped them move to a one cloud provider, and they soon outgrew their that cloud provider's capabilities, and they wanted a migration to another provider, and which we were able to do because when we did the initial migration to cloud, we had built in some services so that this kind of migration would be easy, and when they were ready, it was a matter of a week or 10 days work to move them from one cloud provider to another without any loss of service to their users. The next application is a video and visual commerce application, which does live tracking of objects and provides commercial information for them. Again, a ZSL end-to-end solution for a startup company that came up with this idea, and that they are able to fully encode their raw video into a format that can be used by various content delivery networks, including Amazon's CDN called CloudFront. And we provided the complete solution for encoding and decoding and deployment of the thing, and it's been successfully deployed by this our partner company. Mobile CRM, so this is one that was particularly deployed on a Microsoft's Windows Azure platform as a service cloud, and basically it's the CRM application. All the front end are available on handheld devices, smartphones, and the background services run on Windows Azure, and we are able to support the full spectrum of today's smartphone with this application. So that's the overall end of the presentation. I hope you've found some useful information about ZSL's cloud capabilities, in particular related to IBM's SCE service. At this point, I will turn it back over to Sugalya to see if there are any questions on the line, and if there are, and if I'm able to answer them, I'll try to take them now.
Thank you, Naida. So the Q&A session is open. Please post your questions on the chat window. So we have a couple of questions posted. So the first question is, what makes IBM Cloud Service unique compared to the other competitors?
Well, in one way that they are unique is that IBM's scale, they bring their a lot of resources, both technical and financial, to this cloud computing platform. Right out of the gun, IBM has been able to deploy the services into 6 data centers in a worldwide fashion. I know of no other cloud provider that started off with a bang like that, where they've opened their cloud services on a global basis. And IBM brings a very deep knowledge, of course, about virtualization, which they've had since the 60s in their mainframes, and they're able to provide a complete stack of security services, both physical security for their data centers and also application and network security for all the cloud applications. And they are in a very unique position where IBM's products and services are extensively used by just about every industry sector, just about every major corporation. And they are in a very unique position to be able to support those applications both in the traditional deployment models and also in the cloud now. And they've made a big push to put all their platform services like WebSphere, Cognos, all their Tivoli services, and make them all available in the cloud so that you're able to immediately bring your applications that are already using those services and quickly deploy them into the cloud. And I believe IBM is positioned like no other IT company out there in that, and they have to be seriously considered in the cloud business.
Okay. The other question is, what are the special capabilities that ZSL can provide for cloud customers, especially for IBM Smart Cloud Enterprise?
Again, like I said during the presentation, ZSL has been working with cloud almost ever since it came out, the compute cloud. We've been one of the early adopters with when Amazon announced their EC2 service. And we have been keeping in pace with all the changes that have been going on in the cloud world, not just in the public cloud, but also in the private cloud. We have deployed several private cloud infrastructures, both internally and for our customers. We are able to bring all our expertise and all the things that we have learned over these past years to our customer base and say, this is how you approach a migration into the cloud. These are the things that you do. These are the things you don't do. And how to mold your policies and processes when you're moving into the cloud. Customers don't have to reinvent all those things. We have gone through all that, and we'll bring that knowledge to you and quickly get you up and running without having to stumble and figure your way through the cloud.
That's great. So can you please elaborate a little more about IBM's cloud data centers?
Yeah, I think we had a slide here. Let me go back. Yeah, so basically IBM's cloud is deployed currently in 6 data centers. As you can see, 2 of them are in the U.S., North Carolina and Colorado. 1 is in Canada in the Ontario area, in the Toronto area. The 4th one is in Europe, in Germany. And then there are 2 centers, one in Asia, 2 centers in Asia, one in Japan, one in Singapore. These are large data centers that IBM has traditionally hosted their own internal services and their customers' applications. So the physical security of the buildings, the facilities that are available, like redundant power, like redundant network, and geographical soundness, meaning that they are reasonably secure from things like floods and earthquakes and those kind of natural disasters. That all these locations have been chosen carefully. So when you put your applications in these data centers, you are immediately gaining all those advantages that your data center that you might have running within your building might not currently have. So and also you're gaining all the expertise that IBM has in running these data centers, being able to run them at a large scale and bring all those efficiencies and all that the volume effect to your use. In addition to these data centers that are listed here, IBM's public object storage service runs from a couple of other data centers. From what I understand, in the U.S. they had located on the East Coast from somewhere in New Jersey, Secaucus, I think, and another one in the LA area. And then they have another storage service coming out of Amsterdam in Europe, in Netherlands in Europe, and also an alternate location in Japan. So the idea is that even if you are an IBM Cloud user, if you have some data saved or backed up into their object store, you are getting redundant facilities, meaning that even if these data centers are not available for some reason, your data is safe in some other data centers. So they are providing redundancy within their service so that their object stores are separated from their computing and their block storage services.
Okay. So, any more questions? Thank you, Naidu. So, for any additional questions, please feel free to email us anytime at info@zslinc.com or call us at 732-549-9770. So, I would like to thank everyone for joining us on today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Sugalya.